Hey everyone, this is Player 1.
And this is Player 2.
And we're back. After a couple weeks of being out for different things, I got pretty sick. I got Player 2 sick.
Yeah, I lost my voice because of Player 1. And it didn't help that I was standing in line to actually get something last week that hopefully you guys were enjoying the pickups. So I stood in the rain and that made me lose my voice. So that kind of hampered how we did our videos.
Yeah, and just life being busy. But now we're finally going to get some more time to upload some more videos. And what we want to do right away is do a podcast. It's not super popular compared to maybe our pickups or our first impressions, but it's something that we'd like to develop. And I'd love to hear what you guys think.
Well, basically the podcast, how we look at it is we want to just put our opinions out there about different things that happen. Sometimes we can't just make a video about every single little news thing that comes out, gaming news and so forth. So we think about a podcast as kind of our way of letting you guys know our opinions on something and getting some feedback from you guys as well. But anyway, without further ado, let's begin our podcast.
Yeah, we ended up picking a couple topics since we haven't been in the fold of YouTube for a couple weeks that stuck out to us like from last week more or less. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to try to make it... Player 2 makes fun of me. I try to be as organized as possible because it's the only way to survive for me.
Player 1 is kind of like this little... he's funny about it because he makes note cards and he tries to be as organized as possible. And
it helps me stay sane, man. I got so much stuff to do all the time.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the opposite. I'm kind of like, let's just wing it. But it's a good combination because we ended up with a list of some things that we want to talk about. And we'll just emphasize on that. But the first thing on the list is the NES CLassic.
So the NES CLassic. You know what's funny? And maybe people are going to hate me in the comments for it. I'm not that excited about the NES CLassic. It really doesn't do it for me. I don't know. It's cool. It's a cute little thing. Nice little box. But it really doesn't excite me all that much.
Well, I guess for me, the excitement isn't so much as the NES Classic, but it is nostalgia in a way. I had, like I said in the previous videos, I got my first NES in a raffle when I was a child. I went inside of a supermarket that they were raffling, and my aunt got me a ticket, and I won. It's the first time I've ever won something in my life and it was as a child. It was an NES. It was an NES. So when I got home,
seriously cool story. Man.
Yeah, it is. It is because
you've told me it before, so I can verify. If he was lying, he's been lying for years.
Yeah,
but it's a cool story, man.
I was very poor, so I couldn't afford anything. I mean, I actually had the Atari, the original Atari. So I didn't have the NES when it first came out. So when I won it, I went home and I started playing Duck Hunt. And soon enough, after that, slowly I started developing a collection of a couple of NES games.
You have some of those still, right?
I do. I still do have the original Mario. That's Mario / Duck Hunt in the same cartridge. I have Mario Brothers 2, Mario Brothers 3. I have...
Maybe you can do a collection video on this.
Maybe.
Player 2 doesn't... This is funny. Player 2 does not like doing collection videos, but he loves to do mine. So I love doing collections videos because it gives me an opportunity to talk about all these games that I have. And if you haven't checked them out, please do. It's actually kind of funny because most of the games I haven't been able to play yet because there's so many. But Player 2 hates doing them. He doesn't like bringing his collection over. He doesn't like going over all his games. But he loves to come over and give me crap about mine constantly.
I guess you can say that. I mean, I don't feel that way, but I guess you can say that. I guess eventually, if you guys want to, I'll start doing my collections for you guys. But with that said, with the NES Classic, as I was saying, it's more like nostalgia for me, and the fact that there was barely any to go around. I mean, they sold more than the Switch, I believe, right?
I think they had said it was like 2 million. Was the Switch at like 1.5 or something supposedly after the first month?
I don't really know the real numbers because again,
nobody knows the real numbers. Let's put that out there clearly. Nobody knows the real numbers because it's not like they say everything. And there's a difference between items shipped to store versus items actually sold, all that crap. But
yeah, and
that's
guys,
a whole other topic.
With that said, you can't really believe everything they say because all these numbers that are thrown around, they're usually told by analysts or by some representative that represents a third-party faction of Nintendo or something like that. So you can't really trust these numbers because Nintendo doesn't really release numbers. But anyway, with that said, I didn't like the excuse they gave for discontinuing the NES Classic. I mean, Reggie, if you want to read it on your little nice note card.
The whole thing?
I guess, yeah.
All right. This is what Reggie says from he's Nintendo America, right?
Yes, Nintendo America.
We had originally planned for this to be a product for last holiday. We just didn't anticipate how incredible the response would be. Once we saw the response, we added shipments and then extended the product for as long as we could meet more of the consumer demand. Even with that extraordinary level of performance, we understand that people are frustrated about not being able to find the system. And for that, we really do apologize. But from our perspective, it's important to recognize where our future is and the key areas that we need to drive. We've got a lot going on right now. We don't have unlimited resources.
So for me, that kind of just said BS, BS, BS. We don't want to do this because...
First of all, let me put this out there. This quote, we read it. You probably have heard part of the quote, the resources part. This is the problem with gaming journalism. Journalism is a problem outside of gaming. I'm not getting into the whole issue with media, but there's obviously an issue there, right? Because there's a lot of stuff. It only gets worse in gaming journalism because most of these so-called journalists are a bunch of freaking hipsters that are in the industry one way or another and are trying to get the golden ticket by selling out to one place or another, and you can't trust that. And even worse, when they get lazy and they don't report things authentically, which can happen to anyone, but this is not coincidence. Now, why am I talking about this? If you read any of the articles, they're all talking about how Reggie says there's a limited number of resources and they're talking about for production. I don't think that's what Reggie's talking about. What Reggie is basically saying is that this was a holiday product. It was just supposed to be kind of a little gimmick that we did for the holiday. But frankly, we're focusing on the future, which is Switch. Probably the future of online with Switch if they decide to even step one step in the right direction.
Or simply the e-store.
Yeah, or the e-store and all that stuff. And we're focusing on that. So we're not going to waste our resources in marketing and money and production and in management on a console that was just supposed to be a gimmick. That's what they're really saying. This has nothing to do with not enough resources because there's no such thing in this world at this point of not enough resources for production. There will always be some factory, some production company somewhere that if Nintendo gives you a call and says, I want you to make me 300 million NES Classics, they're going to be like, whatever you want, this is how much we're going to charge.
Yeah, and let's be real, guys.
That's not the case.
And let's be real, guys. You throw a sack of cash on somebody's face and that guy will learn how to fly. Okay? It's that simple. I mean, you throw a sack of cash to any of these production companies, either in China, India, or whatever the case may be, and they will make those products. They will look to make those products. It's not like they make those products, they're discontinued, and all of a sudden they don't have the resources or the blueprints how to remake them. I mean, in all essence, it's not a system that's very complicated to make.
No, it's basically a little emulator. That's what it is. It's a little emulator.
So, but anyway.
Basically, here's where I start with the NES Classic. Nintendo does bad business.
They do.
They do bad business, man. And they don't think about the stuff.
And this is a weak excuse because it's not something that is the first time that happens. It happens all the time with their amiibos.
With everything.
With everything.
They like to, you hear people talking about that. No, it's some crazy thing. It's a conspiracy or whatever. No, it's not. Nintendo purposefully lowers the quantity to make scarcity big. They want things to be rare. That's just a fact. That is just a fact. That's why you couldn't find Switches. That's why you can't find NES Classics. That's why you couldn't find some of these amiibos that were selling for hundreds when they first came out. That's the game that Nintendo plays because it helps their... I really think it comes down to the way they do business with their stockholders. It's better to say that you sold a product and it's sold out so much and people want it than to say you overproduced a product and didn't sell. Even though they're not making as much money, they please their shareholders, and a lot of CEOs and management are getting bonuses. That's what it really comes down to.
Exactly. That's what I believe too. But with that said, here's another thing. They just announced the 2DS XL. So how is it that you don't have unlimited resources and so forth and you can't produce any more NES Classics? But hey guys, we're going to sell you a 2DS XL.
Right. That's just stupid. You're selling a 2DS XL for $150, right?
Yes.
Okay. $150. It's basically the new 3DS XL without a 3D screen.
Yeah.
Frankly, if you buy it, I mean, I like it. It looks sleek. It's thinner. It looks nice. But really, you're getting screwed. Why don't you just buy the 3DS XL and lower the slider if you don't like it? I don't understand that.
Now, in all honesty, and if I play devil's advocate, it is slimmer. It does look a little bit nicer. But again, guys, it's $150.
But see, they like to play the game like, we took the 3DS off. We took the 3DS screen off. Now it's so much cheaper. Let me tell you, that console is old. That console is old. By now, they produce 3DSs very cheap because they've been producing them for years.
Yeah.
This is just another money grab. And the worst part is the audacity that they're going to release it for $150. That should be like $100, man.
I don't even think they should be $100 because those things are very cheaply made. I mean, come on, guys. This is not a Vita. This is not a Switch. I mean, it's old
technology. Yeah, it's old technology. They can already produce this stuff easy.
Yeah, exactly.
It does not make sense to be 150, and even just to release it.
And here's a question I have, because I saw the video, and I've been looking for information. Does it include the charger?
I'm sure it doesn't, but it's still 150.
I'm actually very
I'm sure
interested in knowing that, because if it doesn't include the charger, that's $150 plus the charger.
See, again, we get back to the funny part. They're willing to admit that supposedly their excuse for not including a charger was to lower the cost of the new 3DS, and because everybody already has it. Yet it just so happens that they already have it, but they're willing to release another console that's just a 2DS without a charger for 150. I mean, the numbers don't add up to me. They don't add up to what they're charging.
It's a cash grab. I mean, it is what it is, and so you guys, let us know your opinions. Do you think are you guys getting mad at all these practices from Nintendo? Are you guys getting sick and tired of trying to get something like an NES Classic, an Amiibo, or whatever the case is, or even a Switch, and just finding out that it's not working out?
I mean, and hopefully we don't. I mean, I would love to hear from like a Nintendo fanboy who rip us apart. But to me, Nintendo is one of the worst like game industry companies. Now, given there's a lot worse. Well, I don't know if worse, but there's different kinds of bad. There's EA, there's Ubisoft, whatever. But Nintendo really has a special place in hell. That's what I really think, man. Because there's so much crap. Not just this. When they go to what about their stupid copyright thing on YouTube, man? What about that little nasty program they got where, like, I forgot the team up where you team up with Nintendo?
Well, Nintendo has been known...
It's just a horrible company.
If you guys don't know, and you guys can Google this and even look at videos. If you guys go through the history of Nintendo, you will find out that they have been sued and they have lost in court for dirty, unethical business practices.
And illegal.
And this was back in the early days of Nintendo, where they were literally telling retailers, don't you dare sell any other game for any other console. If not, we will not send you any of our products. And since they were the leading company, retailers like Toys R Us and other retailers will not even allow any other competitor to come in and try to sell their games. They got fined. And I believe they got fined and they lost the court ruling because they were committing illegal activities. This is just one instance. They've been known to do many other things.
It's a history of like just it's a dirty business, and it sucks because I know a lot of people hold Nintendo very dear to their heart. But don't confuse. Yeah, so do we. But don't confuse liking something like Mario to liking the company that's making it.
Guys, I will tell you again, like I said,
there's nothing personal there. That's just business.
As a child, it was one of my favorite systems. I loved it. I had the Genesis and I loved Nintendo. I mean, I have fond memories of it. I love getting home and playing Mario Brothers, getting home and playing Legend of Zelda. I mean, it's part of my childhood. But at the same time, I have to look at it, and now as an adult, I have to see it objectively and say, hey, there's some dirty practices here. They really just want my money.
And the worst thing is, if a company wanting your money and doing stuff just to do it, yeah, okay, anybody does that. That's just the world we live in. But there are some shit that they do that really takes the cake. What they did with Breath of the Wild, for example, that you buy it on the Switch and you can buy it on the Wii U, but the Wii U version, they cut out things from the Wii U version just so it won't have it. For example, the fact that the tablet on the Wii U, or whatever that's called, the control, doesn't have the map, doesn't have anything on it anymore. That was cut out because it was present when they were showing it in E3, or not E3, but when they were showing the presentations and all that, it was there. It was cut out just because it released on the Switch also. That's stuff that like that's messed up. People were waiting for you to release a Zelda game on the Wii U forever, and then you screwed those people by releasing it on a new console and taking features away from the old one. Because releasing on a new console by itself, whatever, that's okay. But the fact that you're taking features from another version just to entice people to buy a new one, that's not cool.
You're
right there, dude?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm almost dying here. Yeah, because my voice is still not completely back. So it's hard for me to talk. But anyway,
we're ranting at this point. But it doesn't change. The whole NES Classic situation is kind of lame. For me, again, I'm not gonna stand outside and do hours of lines or die for it. I'm not dying for the NES Classic. I feel like you can get it another way. All right, so moving on to something else before we just rant for the next 30 minutes. What about Call of Duty World War II? Are you excited?
No, of course not.
You're not?
No. And see, guys, I love Call of Duty, the World War II times, and the World War II age.
And like the earlier Call of Duties?
Yeah, like Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3. And I love the Modern Warfare, what they did with it. However, I'm really not expecting much from Call of Duty. I mean, they're still committing the same dirty business practices they did last time. They're showing you movie scenes. That's probably not gameplay. But...
It isn't. That's another funny thing. People think, oh, great movie scene, like with Destiny or Overwatch showing cartoon movies as trailers. That means nothing. You haven't seen the gameplay.
Exactly. So they're not showing you much, and they're already like pre-order. We have I think it's a deluxe edition or a collector's edition or whatever. So pre-order before you know anything. And mind you, they're not answering any questions about anything.
I think they said they're going to send more on E3 is the whole thing, which makes sense. They just released a trailer.
All right, fine. I'll give you that. But I don't expect much from Call of Duty because, again, they've been pulling the same business practices over and over. And they think that, again, maybe you guys will like the World War II. You find that something refreshing because we've been getting the same stale Call of Duty for the past 10 years.
The problem is not the time. But the having, even those of you who think that you're tired of exosuits, that's not really the problem. The real problem is the cheap recycling of ideas and more than anything, the actual game itself.
Yeah, and
because a cool game done in the future with like an alien invasion or something like that would be fun. Not these crappy assets that look bad. Not this multiplayer gameplay that's just boring and the same thing every year. Well, that's the problem.
Well, that's a good example. Like I would love a Call of Duty which has a campaign of zombies. But again,
we haven't mentioned it yet, but this is one of the things that was exciting me a little bit. They said that I think I heard that they're gonna have like a separate co-op campaign for zombies. Now that could be some Mickey Mouse thing like they did with the Black Ops 3, which it was cool that they had it, but it was just the same levels with like zombies everywhere. Well, I'd like to see like a story-driven campaign.
Well, this is the thing. They've been using the same engine for X amount of years. They say that they upgrade it once in a while as far as the make it look nicer, but it really is the same engine. And they've been milking it for years and making a lot of money hand over fist. But in reality, it's the same recycled game over and over. So I don't really expect much from this game. And that's my worry because their idea is that people were not happy with the whole future thing. No, people were not happy because you first you grabbed the remastered Call of Duty.
That alone is grounds for me never buying that freaking game.
Yeah.
And we haven't been hip to it because you and I didn't buy it. But can you believe that they're selling the same maps? They're selling them again, and they're actually more expensive than they were back then because season passes were cheaper.
Yeah, what's their excuse that now the map packs cost more than what they cost when the
original Call of Duty 4 was out?
When the original came out.
That's ridiculous, man. That's the kind of crap that, like, no way, I will not give you a freaking cent. I'll say this about this game. I'm not excited about it by any means because to some degree I'm tired of these games already. But it's something I'm more interested in because they may actually do something that's okay. Am I going to buy it? No. It's just that simple. I'm not going to buy it, especially not the first day, because those of you who are smart, you just have to wait 2 weeks, sometimes less, maybe sometimes 3 weeks, and that game will be down minimum $10. And a little bit it comes on November 3rd or 9th or something. Wait 3 weeks later and Black Friday, that game will be like $30. Exactly. It's stupid to buy it the first day.
That is true. That's a good point. And again, I'm not waiting for much of it. I didn't like what they did with the remastered, actually hijacking it or ransoming it and telling you if you don't buy this version, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah, to this day they still don't sell it.
And by the way, it's attached to your PlayStation, your system. So if you ever wanna buy it used, good luck with that. You're not going to get the remaster. Right.
And you can't even play in somebody else's place.
Yeah, you can't even play in somebody else's system.
That's not cool, man. Point is, I'll wait on my full verdict on when it comes out, but I'm not going to buy that game. If I buy it, I'll buy it cheap. I refuse to buy it. Plus, the stupid thing about season passes, man, do not buy. Please, do us a favor. If we give you one new idea and we change your mind about one thing, Please do not buy season passes on day one. Don't do it. You look at Zelda. You still don't know what you're getting for Zelda. Final Fantasy 15 has been a joke what they've been doing. Freaking Division. What the hell happened with that? I mean, do not buy season passes. Wait till it's all out. And if it interests you, then maybe get it. But there's no reason to go out and buy a $60 game plus a $60 season pass. Just don't do it. Don't give them that satisfaction.
Exactly. Don't give them that money, because what you're basically doing is you're giving somebody money and telling them, hey, could you promise me that you're going to do this for me? And the person's going to tell you, yeah, of course, I'm going to do this for you. But we're not writing any contract or anything. I promise that I'm going to give you something worthwhile for the money that you're giving me. They can just turn around and be like, here, have some skins.
Yeah, like Bethesda with Fallout 4. You got to be freaking kidding me. We don't really know what it is, but just buy it. And you better buy it now, because if not, it's going to go up in price.
Listen, guys, these guys know exactly what's in the season pass months in advance, even years in advance. Just look at one example, Evolved. You think that they didn't know their business plan when they were making this game? Same thing with all the other games. They have milestones to meet,
right,
and business plans before they're actually even releasing these games. So don't believe that. But anyway.
So, nay, you won't get Call of Duty?
No, I'm not going to get it. I'm going to get it when it's cheap, and if I decide to get it.
I'm the same
I
way.
didn't buy the last one, and I don't
look back.
Oh, talking about the last one, before we move to the next subject. Another thing that pissed me off is that since the remastered version, they started taking stuff away and adding stuff, like microtransactions.
That's right. They added microtransactions to a remaster. I don't think anybody has ever done that before.
And digitally, they added it.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why it pisses me off. But anyway, moving on to the next subject, which is
Injustice. You can get it?
No, hell no.
So I think we talked about this before. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I could beat player 2 with any character because, I mean, he sucks. That's easy.
He'd like to say that.
We should do that video just to put this finally on official documentation.
All I know is that when we were going to try to film this thing, he got sick. He must have just gone out and just inhaled
sick people
to
run away from you.
Because all of a sudden he wouldn't answer my phone calls, and then he's like, I'm sick, I can't talk. And then of course he got me sick, and then when he got me sick, he's like, oh yeah, I'm okay now let's do the video. Yeah, once I'm dying,
we'll do it soon, but we should do that. But regardless of that, so this new Injustice, I'm a huge fan of the old Injustice. I really liked it. I thought it was cool with what they were doing, but this new Injustice to me looks horrible.
It looks horrible. I don't like the characters, how they're portrayed. I mean, like Wonder Woman, did they take like a guy's face and put it on there?
I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, the designs are ugly. The costumes are ugly. Yeah, and like the graphics. It's like they went back in time.
Yeah, like Grog. I mean, like it kind of looks in some of the videos that I've seen is like if the textures were removed in some of the, because they just kind of look bland or opaque. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it.
Here's the thing that I'm trying to understand. Mortal Kombat 10 came out when was it, like 2015? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. This new game should not look worse than that game, and this new game looks worse than Mortal Kombat 10, man.
I just don't like it.
It looks like a 360 game, just like put on PS4, man. It's horrible.
The other thing that I don't like is this whole thing about armoring up. Like Batman, he armors up. Superman, first of all, Superman does not need
armor, man.
Superman does not need armor. He's literally he is the strongest character. I mean, he fights Darkseid. But anyway, this is all a gimmick to sell you these armor and gear.
And this is a real problem. Let's just say the game looks like crap, which it does, and the animations and the people look bad, which they do. This whole loot system, what a bunch of crock, man. This loot system has been a cancer to the game industry. Screw Destiny and their bullshit, and screw all these freaking games that have to have loot. This is like ridiculous. It's just like a nasty cash grab, and people buy into it like I don't know. They drank the Kool-Aid.
The loot system is a joke because in Overwatch, you could get stuck playing that game millions of times and you won't get anything worthwhile. In other games, worthwhile, whatever.
Wow, you said worthwhile, man.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm sick here trying to work with my voice, and you're gonna make fun of me.
I get it.
I'm gonna beat you so bad with Mortal Kombat.
You wish, man. You pick the character, and I'll beat you with that character.
Yeah, talk the talk. Anyway, so as I was saying, this loot system is a cancer. I mean, this whole gear system is just to sell you. I'm sure they're gonna try to sell you some other things and character
It's pay to
packs.
win.
Yes, character packs and other stuff. But the game doesn't really look that good to me. I mean, yeah, it's a fighting game. It looks, some of the stuff is just like Mortal Kombat. I mean, you go off the screen.
Like shit. It looks like shit because that was happening in the freaking Injustice on the 360.
I agree, and some of the things are the same as Mortal Kombat, so they don't change that much. But it really looks like a downgrade. And I believe a third-party company made it, or I don't think it was.
That may be it, and maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it looks like crap because they're using a different engine or whatever the case. It's kind of like what happened with the Arkham Knight series, the Origins. That one was like the crappy one done by a different studio, and it just was not as up to par. The graphics look worse, all that stuff.
Yeah, I just don't like that game, and I don't see myself buying it.
No.
I'll tell you this: I will probably buy it because this is coming. I'll get the Game of the Year edition or the XL edition, right. And I'll wait until that sucker comes out because you guys know that they're good for doing this. They'll sell you this, and then they'll sell you an additional $40 worth of packs, characters, or whatever, and then they'll want a season pass or some other loot system or whatever, and then 6 months down the line or close to a year, hey, guess what? We have the XL version or the Game of the Year version, which includes everything.
I regret not doing that for Mortal Kombat. I didn't do it because I wanted the statue, the Scorpion statue. I got the collector's edition, and I never bought the season pass because screw that crap. But yeah, definitely, I may get it when it comes out with the XL. We'll see. Hopefully they don't do some shit where like it's a code, not on the actual disc. But as far as even just excitement for it, I don't really care about it. It looks like crap. It just looks like crap. There's no way around it. And I'm interested, those of you watching this, if you played the original, even if you didn't, do you think it looks good? Should we have games that look like that coming out on the PS4 after something like Horizon Zero Dawn? Should we have games, or even after the last Mortal Kombat, should it look like this?
I don't think it looks good. I mean, I really don't. I've seen some gameplay, and I've tried to look for higher resolution videos and other stuff, but I don't see it looking good. I mean, it sucks. I mean, that's the best way I can put it out there. And this is kind of like the practice that I see in other games that I'm starting to look at, like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Besides the fact that they're already trying to pre-order it before they even show you the complete roster. And so with what happened last year with Street Fighter 5, that was a complete disaster.
Yeah, and all I know how to say is, we're sorry, we're going to do better next time. We're sorry, but you got screwed.
Yeah, and we're sorry, we're going to do better. We're going to keep your money. We're not going to give you anything else, but hey, it won't happen again. Here we are with the next one. It's happening again.
The whole fighting game thing has become another... I mean, it's kind of sad. This podcast is like really negative, but it's just that shit is really bad, man. You can no longer buy a fighting game anymore. Because if you buy a fighting game, you're guaranteed that down the line they're going to release a fuller version of that game. And then, if not, they're going to release DLC characters of that game. I mean, Capcom has been doing this for years. How many versions of Capcom 3 exist? Capcom versus Marvel, whatever, 3 exists.
I think there's a couple of versions.
There's always a couple versions. How many versions of Street Fighter of one or the other exist? This is ridiculous.
It's really ridiculous because I make a joke about it sometimes with some friends that I'm going to go out and buy the Street Fighter Double Looper Highway Street Fighter version number 5.6.
Arcade special.
Yeah, arcade special with 2 coins. But anyway,
ridiculous.
Besides being so negative as Player One says it on this podcast, we want to end it with on a high note. It looks like finally some developer in Halo 5, got the hint that they'll be more focused on having Master Chief as the central role versus some side character that nobody cared about.
You know what happened? Now, I should be this. I'm a little bit hypocritical because I don't own an Xbox One. I'm not going to buy an Xbox One. And so I haven't played it. I saw it on YouTube. But I know this. There was false advertising. The story presented was not real. Nobody wants to play as a stupid Agent Locke. You play Halo to play as Master Chief. You play Metal Gear to play as Solid Snake. Period. And last, it's like those games have gone downhill, man.
Well, I'll put my 2 cents into that because I'm a huge Halo fan.
Yeah, you're a bigger Halo fan than I am.
I am all invested in the universe. I know about everything that happens way before Master Chief 117. I know about Oni in the background, what's been going on. I've read all the books.
You read all the books, right? Yeah.
I've read all the books, so I know everything.
Yeah.
And I do agree with what you're saying. But I think the underlining point in Halo 5, the problem was that first, they try to rip you off with the rec packs.
Oh yeah. Again,
Second,
the stupid loot system, man.
Yeah,
this is like a cancer that keeps growing.
but one of the main things why I didn't get it, and this was supposed to be the thing that I would have actually gone out and bought an Xbox One for. No split screen. In everything that has been with Halo, there's always been a split screen.
That's how we used to play split screen.
Exactly. No split screen. I'm sorry, you're not getting my money if you don't have a split screen, especially on a Halo game. Because I like to sit down and play with my girlfriend or play with player one or whatever the case is, and actually play a split screen game, especially on a first person shooter like Halo. Third, again, like player one stated, false advertisement, and I really didn't care playing as Locke. He wasn't a likable character, and the story was garbage. I mean, come on.
Garbage, man.
That's what I can say.
I'm curious, those of you listening, if any of you played Halo 5, we'd love to hear what you think about it, because I didn't get to play it. Did you get to play it at all?
No, I haven't played it.
So, I mean, we're being hypocrites to some degree because we didn't play the game. But I saw it all on YouTube. Basically, I sat down through a playthrough on YouTube. And, I mean, shit, man. It just doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good. I don't like the dynamic lighting that they try to use. But, again, to me, it was a huge letdown. And for them to actually say things like, no, we're not going to put split screen because players don't care about split screen. In fact, we know it, and
yeah, but now I think they learned their lesson because they're saying the next one will have split screen.
Of course, because people do care about split screen.
Look at the campaigns. We went through a whole thing where idiots like Cliffy B were trying to get campaigns off to make cheaper games, where they were trying to get rid of it with all these different games like Evolve and all that without campaign. What did they learn? Oh, wait a second. People want a campaign.
Just look at a Star Wars Battlefront.
Look at Star Wars Battlefront. Look at, for all the crap that game that should have been a $15 game that released for $60, now they're putting a campaign. Is it going to be a legit campaign? No. It's going to be a bunch of little Mickey Mouse stories. But the point is, there's obviously people interested in split screen, co-op, campaigns, the things that have made gaming what they are since the beginning.
Guys, and they don't want to do this because they don't want to spend money on making these things or even hiring people to do this. It's cheap.
Yeah, if they could do a little shooter.
If they could release a game like Pong and sell it for $60, they'll do it. Anything to save a buck and not it's the point of business. But again, like Player One said, there is an audience. There is an audience for campaign, there is an audience for split screen and so forth. And that to me was gonna be, I had high hopes for Halo 5 because that to me was the game that would have propelled me to buy the Xbox One, and it didn't. So they lost my money.
They lost that. Then they got rid of Scalebound.
Oh yeah, that too.
Halo Wars 2, same shit. Where they're trying to introduce
I'm still waiting for Crackdown, and I don't. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that game. I'm never gonna get an Xbox One.
And it's not because I don't like Xbox. It's because I'm a huge Xbox fan. I have a lot of Xbox 360 games. So does Player One.
Yeah.
But a lot of dirty business practices that they did with the Xbox.
That little game that they had in the beginning, the connected online all the time. You needed the Connect, all that crap. But whatever. Hey, you lied, man. You said that was gonna be positive.
Well, it's positive because they're saying that they learned their lesson and they're gonna do it right next time. I don't believe it, but at least I'll give them the benefit of a doubt before I throw a rock in.
Nah, screw them, dude. They don't deserve the benefit anymore.
No, they don't. But anyway, it is a high note because they learned their lesson.
All right, to end our rant/podcast, I figured it'd be a cool idea to do this every time at the end and just talk about the games we're currently playing.
Yeah, and not every time it's gonna be something negative. These are kind of the things that we wanted to focus on during the week.
It's hard, man. They really make it hard to be positive in the freaking beyond playing the games themselves. There's so much stuff happening that it's hard. But regardless. Yeah, what are you playing right now?
I still like games. I mean, that's the positive aspect of it. I still like games, and I buy them cheap, and sometimes I buy them pre-owned, just like everybody else. But
the nice thing is, and this is another topic, maybe for another podcast, the fact that we have physical copies of things allows us to live in the past for a little bit. But I want to know what you're playing right now.
And allows us to be able to control our destiny in a way, because we're still able to play in each other's houses and so forth. But anyway, I'm not playing as much games as you are, but I am playing Bloodborne, which
I haven't played Bloodborne.
I've been trying to pass this sucker for about a year and a half.
Have you played it straight?
No, I haven't played it straight because it's like a love and hate relationship.
Of course it is.
It's like Dark Souls. I'll play it for a little bit. I'll get frustrated. I'll put it back on the shelf and I'll be like, screw you. I hate you. And then I'll come back like a insensitive little girl and be like, I love you. Please show me more. And then it's like, I'll throw it back in the shelf again.
But that's good. I think with those kind of games you need that, because it gets to a point where you just keep.
I've spent hours on Dark Souls 3, and I've tried to beat some stuff, and I can't. And I get frustrated, and I'll put it against the shelf, and I'll be like, I'll never see you again. and I'll come back eventually. But anyway, I'm playing Bloodborne right now, so I'm trying to beat that game. And the other thing that I'm playing some NES games. I don't want to list them because hopefully you guys will see in the pickups which ones I'm playing. Okay. Because it'll be a nice little surprise, hopefully, for you guys. But yeah, I'm playing some old retro games.
I haven't played NES in a while, man.
Really?
Yeah, like a long time. I really haven't played an NES game in a long time because I haven't set it up.
Could it be that you suck?
It could be. Some of those NES games were tough, man. They're a lot tougher. Games were that's something true. People always talk about, oh, it was better back then. I don't know if it was better or worse, but a lot of older games are tough.
That's just they are.
Dark Souls is not the only tough game out there. There are a lot of older tough games.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of old tough games, and that's a testament to gaming, because games back then they had to be complete and they had to be working in good condition. I mean, yeah, you get bugs and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah, but if you had a bug back then,
I remember blowing on my cartridges all the time. But
yeah, that's right, yeah. Me too.
So,
but back then, if you released a game with bugs that was broken, your game failed.
And you were out of business.
Think back to Advent Rising.
Yeah.
Advent Rising had a lot of glitches. Not even close, frankly, to the shit like Assassin's Creed. But it failed because of glitches. That was the main thing, because it was a great game.
I loved Advent Rising. Yeah. Anyway,
this is off topic.
We're going to get off topic, and that is one of my favorite games of all time. But anyway, player one is pointing that I should ask him what games he's playing, but I don't really care. Anyway, yeah, let me read this piece of paper. What games are you playing?
It doesn't say that, man. It doesn't say that.
I am very interested. I am very interested in knowing what games are you playing. And it says I have to pass you the list back here.
Come on, man. People are going to believe you, dude. They're going to make fun of me. Well, right now, since you're so interested, I'm really focusing on 3 games. I actually just beat, about a week and some change ago, Lost Dimension on the Vita. So I'll be doing a review of that soon. I beat Horizon 2 in the time frame that we've been out. I was able to finally beat Horizon Zero Dawn. So take a look out. Keep an eye out for that. I'll be uploading a Horizon Zero Dawn review soon. Probably not this week. I'm thinking towards the weekend, because we're going to do a pickups this week, right? Later in the week.
Of course.
All right, we'll do that. What I'm really playing right now is I'm still playing through Yakuza 0. I tend to take my time with that game because I really enjoy everything. So I basically almost 100% complete those games. And then I'm playing Danganronpa 2 on the Vita. That's a game I really haven't beat yet. So I kind of went back to it and I'm enjoying it. We'll see. I've always heard that's better than part 1. So we'll see. And by the way, if you don't know what Danganronpa is, it's a cool little visual novel. And I actually have a review up of Danganronpa Part 1, so you can check that out. Then I'm also playing, and this is going to be the big one, that I want to hear what Player 2 has to say about this. I'm playing Final Fantasy 13. I had started it on the 360, but Player 2 had always told me it looked better on the PS3, so I went to go pick it up. For cheap, shut up, man. It's for cheap. I went to pick it up used, and it really is a difference. So by the way, if you haven't played it yet, you're gonna play it on the PS3. But let me tell you, man, I know people talk crap about it. I understand the things that could piss people off. I get it. I've played about 6 hours of it so far. It is very linear. The combat isn't super sophisticated, but I am having a great time.
I will put in my 2 cents.
I'm having a great time.
13 was okay for me. I didn't like the whole localization, if you want to call it, the voicing
of 13.
Yeah,
dude, I'm gonna punch you right now, man. All right, look, 13 has the guy Snow. I think
I know it has Wesker in it. The guy who does the voice for Wesker.
It has. What's his name? Was it Troy Baker? The guy who does The Last of Us, like does all the great, or Nolan North. I forgot which one. One of those 2 guys. Basically, the 2 guys that run the industry of voice gaming. Great voice acting. It has Liara in it. You can't mess with Liara, dude. Those 2 alone carry the game. If you
guys can't see, I know you guys can't see. I'm rolling my eyes. listen, yes, they are fantastic voice actors. I
Yara
guess
overdoes it. She's a little bit too moody, but whatever.
maybe it's because I tend to like the Japanese voicing.
No, I agree with you. I tend to
More-
like Japanese voicing, but okay, so let me say this. I agree with you on one big thing. When I'm playing JRPG, I like to hear the Japanese voices.
That's the way I am.
But you don't have that choice.
Japanese all the way.
you don't have that choice in this case. You just
I
kind of have
guess
to
you
watch
don't,
it.
and that's
so,
probably...
but you gotta admit, it's pretty good though, right?
I'll put it this way. It's like watching... For me, it was kind of like watching Dragon Ball Z, watching the English version and watching the Japanese language version. I prefer the other version.
Here's what happens to me. And those of you who... And I'd love to hear what you guys think, because this is a debated topic. In fact, I think this was one of the debated topics in one of the videos that we did a while ago, where people were saying about the Japanese voices. But I'll say this. When it comes to Japanese voice acting, when it's good, it's absolutely amazing. Because the Japanese language, the inflections, the changes of pitch when they're speaking, there's so much emotion when they do it really, really good.
That's why I love it.
And that's the thing. And I'm not saying English can't do that, but it's just that English doesn't quite compare. And even with what I've played so far, the 6 hours, there's, like I said, I like lightning, I like snow, I like, I forgot the black guy's name, Sarah or whatever his name, I forgot his name. But those are cool. I don't like the two kids. Those little kids are annoying the shit out of me. So I can see what you're saying.
I just remember a scene, because I haven't played it in years. I remember a scene that's like the little kid loses his mom, and then it's like 2 seconds later, he's like, hey, I'm all happy.
It's what's his name? Hope, I think is. Those two kids, that's where they fucked up with the game. That was bad. Everything around that has been good. My point is this. I have never played Final Fantasy 13. I just never got around to it, so I'm playing it now. And I've been blown away because all the negative crap I've heard, maybe it gets worse. But I am enjoying playing like a cinematic experience.
I'll put it this way, guys. He came up to me and he showed me the box of lightning, and I almost smacked it out of his hand. And I told him, no, you're not allowed to play that game until you play Final Fantasy, the originals. And I'm talking about 7, 8, 9, and even the ones that came before. And player 1 was like, come on, let me at least try to get into 13 first, because, you know, maybe I identify with the graphics a little bit, and then I'll slowly work my way back. And I showed him a little bit of 8, and
I haven't played Final Fantasy.
It blew his brains out.
It did. I can't believe. So here's the thing. I mean, maybe you guys are gonna hate me for it. I haven't played Final Fantasy 8. That's the truth. It's on my list of shit to do, but I've never done it. I've played so many other games.
It
blew my mind what you showed me, because I can't believe on the PS1 some of the camera angles, the action. I saw like 5 minutes of it, and I'm like, I gotta play this game right now. I want to know what happens.
So he started lightning, and he made me a promise that he's gonna actually play those games, and I will hold him to that promise. I mean, as long as he's having fun, as long as you're having fun with games, that's what it matters. That's what matters, guys. It doesn't matter what game it is. Actually, I'll take that back. It does matter if you paid full price and you got ripped off.
Yeah, but I just bought this game for $4.99. No, I bought it for like the 4 for
10.
Is it 4 for 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the 4 for 10 in GameStop. That's a steal, man.
Yeah, it is.
That's a steal.
It is, but as long as you're having fun with games, and you know, it's like us, where you can invite a friend over or whatever the case is, and just have fun with games. That's what really matters. As the years go by, you remember these events. That's like how I remember my childhood. Even when I was in high school, the first time I ever got a Dreamcast. When it first came out, I played Sonic, and I spent the whole summer on playing the Dreamcast, and it was a fantastic summer for me. I didn't have a lot of other things, but I enjoyed the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast. I was still trying to fight this cold, but anyway. With that said, we wanted to end it on a high note again.
We just did. I'm playing Final Fantasy 13, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Who knows? Maybe I'll take that back as I get towards the end. I don't know, but not.
Don't be negative.
6 hours in, I'm loving it. I'm enjoying Danganronpa, and I've told you guys before, Yakuza 0 is great.
I'm enjoying Bloodborne, even though it's annoying the heck out of me.
No way.
Anyway, that's our podcast.
Yeah, thanks for listening. You know, we'd love to hear what you guys think. Let us know if you like what we talked about, or if there's any topics in the future you want us to talk about, or a different format for the podcast.
Yeah, let us know. Your opinions do count. I mean, we do read them.
A lot, yeah.
We do read them, and
I do answer every single comment.
Yeah, and we do read them, and Player One is always coming up to me with ideas of what you guys say. Yeah, and watch out for the pickups because we are working on it. We tried to do it before, but it was just horrible because we were both lost our voice and we sounded like two old hags trying to do stuff. But
say with that said again.
What?
Say your favorite catchphrase.
With that said.
With that said, thanks for watching. This is Player One.
And this is Player Two.
Signing out.
Later.